Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I am doing a Bible journaling with me video on how I painted a beach scene with acrylic paints in my journaling Bible. So I am using my interlude Bible here, which has the full blank pages to work on. If you don't have an interlude Bible, you could totally do this in a separate notebook or sketchbook, or you can do this on a blank piece of paper and add it as a tip-in into your journaling Bible. There's lots of other options. So if you want to give this one a try, I would encourage you to find a way to do it. It's a lot of fun. This one is a little bit more advanced than a lot of my recent tutorials, but I would never say that you can't do it. I totally believe you can do it, so even if you're new, give it a try. You got to practice. The best way to learn is by doing it, so don't let your fear of inability hold you back from creating something really pretty. So I would encourage you to give it a try. So I'm just grabbing a bunch of blue paints, and I also grabbed unbleached white and white paint. And I just put them on my paper plate here, which acts as my palette. And I will put all of the links to the supplies that I'm using, as well as the names to all of the paints that I'm using. I like to use my apple barrel acrylic paints, which are super duper cheap, and they're from Walmart. But any acrylic paint works. So the unbleached white that I have is a Artist Lofts brand. So really any brand that you have on hand will totally work. So sorry I'm talking a mile a minute, but I'm gonna get started on my sky here. So I just took my lightest blue, skyish blue color, and applied that to the top half of my page. And then I'm taking some white to add in some clouds. I'll also grab a little bit of a different blue color to try to add a couple different shades. And I'm not really doing anything fancy with my brush technique. I'm just taking this nice big flat paintbrush and plopping that paint on there. It's one of my biggest things. If you've followed me for a while, you know I'm all about just getting the paint on the page. I'm also doing some fun finger painting here with the clouds. I find that gives a really nice texture. And I also love the idea of seeing my fingerprints in the painting. So this Bible that I'm working in is the one that I'm doing for my son to give to him years down the road once I can fill it all up. And I just love the idea of being able to see my fingerprints in this painting that I made for him. So finger painting is a lot of fun, but you could also just use a paintbrush to do those clouds as well. So now gets a little bit trickier and a little bit more fun at the same time. I'm starting off with my ocean. So I'm starting off with my darkest blue color. This is a nice deep navy blue, and created my horizon line. So I just painted a nice somewhat straight line for my horizon. And then I'm taking my next darkest blue color and adding that in. And I'm trying to work quickly so that my paint doesn't completely dry, so that I can get those colors nice and blended. So I didn't just completely cover over that dark blue horizon line, but I kind of picked up from the bottom of it so that that dark blue kind of blends in with the next blue color that I'm picking up, and so on. So I'm kind of doing an ombre effect here. So now I'm adding in white. So as I get lower down to the bottom of my page, it's going to get lighter in my ocean. So this is one of those things that's kind of hard to explain and hard to teach, and it just kind of takes practice. And I would just encourage you to just give it a shot. This is something that has taken me a little bit of time to get a hang of, so don't get discouraged if it doesn't look perfect right away. Just keep on practicing. Another great thing about acrylics is that if you don't love it the first time or the second or the third, you can always just go back over it and add more layers and recreate it if you don't love it. So another thing to keep in mind is that this is not a perfectly technical masterpiece on my part for this page. This is just a Bible journaling page, so don't get too caught up in creating the most amazing piece of art ever. You're just Bible journaling. We need to take that pressure off, I think. A lot of times we put too much pressure on ourselves to create that perfect page, but it's really all about just spending time in the Word, worshiping Him, and creating art to magnify His amazing Word and His amazing work of art. So that's just a little my 2 cents on this. Just try it out and have fun. I'm adding my sand now. I find that that unbleached white color is a really nice sand color, and I'm just adding a little bit of normal white on top of it to lighten it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and dry my page here, and then I'm going to add in some white at the shoreline to create little bubbles, I guess, at the shoreline. I find that that's a really easy way to finish off that ocean. You could totally just leave this page here and add some lettering or stickers or whatever you like to do to finish off your page, but I decided to add in a palm tree. So I am just, again, picking out some green colors and a white and a brown to do my tree. Again, just on that paper plate, and I'm going to take a small round paintbrush and I'm going to mix some of that brown with the white because I didn't want it to be super duper dark brown. So I just lightened it up a little bit with the white beforehand. And just kind of making some tree trunks. The great thing about palm trees is that their tree trunks are pretty darn simple. I did bend them a little bit at the top and I tapered them at the top as well. And so they're thicker at the bottom and the middle than they are at the top. And then I'm taking that dark brown that's not mixed with the white and just kind of adding a little bit of texture. I'm basically just blotting that color in on that tree trunk just to add a little bit of texture. Nothing super fancy, no crazy technique. Again, just blot, 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 get that paint on the page. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my palms. So for this, I'm just taking kind of a mixture of my greens. So I mainly am taking the lighter green color, and then I like to just dip the tip of my brush in that dark green color as well. That just kind of creates a little bit of different shades, makes it look a little bit more natural to me. And to do my palm, I'm taking the very tip of my brush and making a nice straight line, or somewhat curved line, depending on which direction I'm going. And then I'm just applying pressure with my paintbrush and making little tiny strokes outward from that line. Sounds complicated, but it's more simple than you'd think. I'm hoping that you'll get the idea just by watching the video. I may not be doing the best job explaining, but I hope you get it. And I'm going to add a little bit of white here and there as well in these palms just to kind of lighten it up, and especially for, say, this palm that's going over the first one, I'm adding a little bit more white because I want it to stand out from the first palm tree so that you can see that they're two different palms. And I'm just filling in those tree trunks, just kind of going outward and somewhat of a star shape with those palms. But there's so many different varieties of palm trees, so if you have one that's your favorite, try that out. I would encourage you to do some research, look on Google, look for palm paintings, and maybe you'll find something else that you like that you want to try out as well. I'm just going to keep on adding in these palms until it's as full as I want it. All in all, I felt like I added a little too much, so sometimes less is more, but I think it still turned out really pretty. So once I'm done with that, I will just take the same green and add a little bit of grass at the bottom of my trees to finish it off. And that's it for my background painting. I am working on the verse Psalm 63, verse 3 through 4, which says, "Because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. So I will bless you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands." And an ocean scene may not seem like a very likely background to this verse. It doesn't necessarily have a ton to do with the verse itself, but it does have a lot to do with my life. So we just moved from San Diego, which is a nice beachy area, lots of palm trees, to Ventura County, which is a nice beachy area with a ton of palm trees. And so I thought that I really just wanted to signify this time in our lives of living in these beachy communities, and also the move and my son being 3 months old. So to me, it's another great way for me to mark our life, but also do Bible journaling at the same time, if that makes sense. So this journaling Bible here for my son is kind of acting as a baby book or a scrapbook, a journal at the same time. So I'm writing out, because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. And I'm just using my Tombow Funosuke brush pen and doing some brush calligraphy, which if you've been around here for a while, you know that I have tutorials all on how to do brush calligraphy and bounce calligraphy. So I would encourage you to check those out. They will be linked in the blog post that goes along with this video at scribblinggrace.com/acrylic-ocean. So I'm just writing this out with with my brush pen, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of a journal keepsake note at the bottom saying, Clark is 3 months old. He's a happy boy and loves to smile at his parents. And then I like to write out a prayer for the baby. That's my big thing about this journaling Bible, is it's all about praying over Clark. So I wrote out my prayer, which just says, Lord, you are so good. Thank you for your steadfast love. Be with Clark as his refuge. May he lift up his hands in your name. Amen. And then I also, of course, date it and added a little highlight to my lettering using my Uniball Signo gel pen, just a white gel pen. And I find that that just kind of helps the lettering to pop a little bit. And that's it for my page. I know that this video is a little bit fast, and I'm not sure if I did the best job explaining this, but I hope I provided you with some information and inspiration, and a little bit of encouragement too. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Be sure to check out that blog post at scribblinggrace.com/acrylic-ocean to find all of the links to all the supplies that I used, and some other helpful information and tutorials and stuff like that. So head on over there. It'll be linked in the description below. And that's it. All right, so you can see I didn't have any bleed through on my page as well. So I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless.